This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airwaves of ESPN Radio, 250 plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio and Sirius XM, Channel 80. It is the night, tonight, from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, where the NBA draft, 2018 NBA draft, will be taking place. For those of you who don't know, the team, you've been living under a rock, you may not know any better or what have you, the team with the number 1 overall pick is the Phoenix Suns. The team with the number 2 overall pick is the Sacramento Kings. The team with the number 3 overall pick is the Atlanta Hawks. Number 4 is the Memphis Grizzlies. Number 5 is the Dallas Mavericks. Number 6 is the Orlando Magic. Number 7 is the Chicago Bulls. Number 8, courtesy of the Brooklyn Nets, that pick goes to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Number 9, the New York Knicks. And number 10, courtesy of the Los Angeles Lakers, the Philadelphia 76ers have the number 10th overall pick. Charlotte's at 11. The Clippers have the 12th and 13th pick in the lottery. And the Denver Nuggets complete the lottery at number 14. The consensus number 1 pick is expected to be the 7-foot, 260-pound wonder boy out of Arizona. His name is DeAndre Ayton. This is not rocket science, ladies and gentlemen. You are the moribund, pathetic Phoenix Suns franchise. You had damn well better pick Ayton, who was just up the road at Arizona, who averaged 20 and 11 on better than 61% shooting from the field, better than 34% shooting from three-point range, has the skill sets offensively to be inside with his back to the basket or step away from the basket and hit jump shots. You give him the damn pick. You pick him number 1. You pair him with Booker, and you call it a day. It's what you do. By the way, you don't move up in the draft try to get another pick by giving away Booker to anybody. You do everything you can to hold on to Devontae Booker for dear life because the brother is special. You hold on to him for dear life. You team in with Ayton and you see what you got going on. That's what you do. But forgive me if I go all the way from the number 1 pick to the number 9th pick. Y'all gonna have to forgive me, America, because damn it, I'm a New York Knicks fan. And damn it, that's where my heart is at right now. Now, I like me some Trae Young, who averaged 28 a game in college and will shoot from the parking lot. I'm not going to compare him to Steph Curry, but I'll compare his conscience to Steph Curry. He'll pull up from anywhere. He'll fill the seats. He'll be a box office addition. But whether or not he's going to be that guy remains to be seen. I'm looking at this kid Sexton out of Alabama, who played for former Brooklyn Nets coach Avery Johnson. I love his skill set. I love his fire. I love his competitive fervor. I do not love his jump shot, nor his decision making. I have concerns. Reminds me a little bit of De'Aaron Fox coming out of Kentucky last year, who I liked a lot. And I still like. But I don't know if Sexton's the right man for the New York Knicks at number 9. But I understand it. This kid Knox out of Kentucky, I'm consistently hearing he's the sleeper. He's the guy that you got to take. Being at 6'8", 6'9", moves great without the ball and can shoot the rock, I might have to take him. He might have to be somebody I'm going to take. If I'm the New York Knicks, here's the big story about this, though. And there's just no way to avoid this. There really isn't. So let me just put it out there. New York Knicks can't mess this up. Nobody is under more pressure in this draft to get it right than the New York Knicks. And I'm going to tell you why. Philadelphia, for example. You don't get it right, you still got Embiid and Ben Simmons. Phoenix, you can't get it wrong. Sacramento, who cares about you? You got to show that you're relevant again. Atlanta, well, we already know that you guys were in rebuilding mode. Budenholzer shouldn't have even been there last year. He's gone now. Now he's the coach of Milwaukee. Got a new coach, new system with zero expectations. You can go Doncic. You can go Bagley. You can go Mo Bamba. You can go Jaren Jackson. You can go a lot of different directions if you're Atlanta. Same thing if you're Memphis. Everybody knows Fizdale wanted out of there as coach. Probably got fired on purpose. Who the hell wanted to be in Memphis? So Marc Gasol talking smack about him or whatever wasn't going to hurt Fizdale one bit. Now he's in Gotham City, New York. Right here. Coaching the Knicks. There's a guard-oriented league. Caters to perimeter players. Skilled position shooters and what have you. You're the New York Knicks. You got to get somebody that can do that for you or somebody that can facilitate others doing that for you. When I think about Kevin Knox, played 32 minutes a game at Kentucky. Shot 44.5% from the field. 34% from three-point range. Hit more than 77% of his free throws. Averaged 15 and 5. I'm looking at him, who played all 37 games. He's 6'9", 206 pounds. That's what he's listed at, even though he looks a bit heavier than that to me. I got to pay attention to that. I just do. I'm the New York Knicks. I might have to go that route. I just might have to. I really, really just might have to. Because I'm of the mindset, excuse me, I got to pay attention to this guy. This kid got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, same team as Kevin Knox, Kentucky, averaged 14 points, shot 48.5% from the field, 40% from three-point range. But nobody's projecting him to go that high, so I'm not about to either. And all of this talk about the New York Knicks moving up. Ladies and gentlemen, can we stop that? Can we stop that talk about the New York Knicks moving up? I mean, to move up, you got to have somebody. You don't listen to me. You don't want to believe me. Listen to our very own Adrian Wojnarowski. He'll tell you about it. Take it away, Kat.
I was told late last night they have not yet asked Bama's people to get his medical information. And if you were ready to invest, that's a steep price to move up that high into the draft.
9-4.
You're going to have to give up a lot. You're going to probably give up a future first. You're going to be digging in his medicals right now. They did talk to him yesterday, and that goes on the week of it. I think New York, in my conversations there last night, I think they're very comfortable at 9, and I think, whether it's going to be Knox, Mikal Bridges from Villanova, they feel like they can get the player they want there without having to mortgage something forward. I think it's more likely the Knicks stay where they are.
Adrian Wojnarowski was on ESPN's show Get Up this morning with Mike Greenberg and Jalen Rose and the crew. So we understand where he's coming from with that. We understand that he's talking about the New York Knicks are very comfortable. They damn well better be comfortable. I can't trust the Knicks to move up. Move up and get who? With my luck, they'll move up to target because they targeted a specific player and then the player ain't available. I can't trust that. Not even a little bit. So this is where we are. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Knicks talking about moving up. Moving up for what? By the way, what do you have to give up to move up? Porzingis is hurt. Who the hell else do you have? Who do you have if you're the New York Knicks to move up? Can we stop this nonsense? Not moving up. Why? And if you did, how should we feel about it? We can't trust it. Can't trust anything about the New York Knicks right now. Just can't do it. You committed to $95 million in salaries. Porzingis is hurt until at least January. Joakim Noah, look, gotta get rid of that contract. Oh, $37 million over the next 2 years, $37.7 million to be exact. Over the next $37.8 million, I'm sorry. Over the next 2 years. Tim Hardaway is owed $36 million with a player option the third year. You still got Courtney Lee on the books for $25 million. You still got Lance Thomas on the books for $15 million. I mean, you're just looking at this stuff. It's like, my goodness, what do you have to offer? Even Kyle O'Quinn said he's exercising his option to become a free agent. He don't even want to be with you. Well, maybe that's a bit embellishment, but hey, gonna be a free agent. So I'm just looking at this right now. I don't want to hear anything about the Knicks moving up. New York Knicks are going to have the 9th pick. The question is, who should they get? If Trae Young and Sexton and Knox, if these folks fall to you at number 9, what direction should the New York Knicks go in? That is the $1 million question. Somewhere along the way, we should have an answer. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. That's just one of the items that we're going to get into. The rest of the draft is something else worth getting into. Because we got to look at it for what it is. And I got to tell you something. This kid, Doncic, out of Europe, Real Madrid, the second best league in the world, they say. You know, the kid can play, He's been playing against grown men since he was 16. A lot of people are high on him. Fair enough. But if you ain't the quickest dude in the world, and you ain't the most athletic dude in the world, I think you're playing at a disadvantage in today's NBA. But there is something to be said for you knowing how to play the game of basketball. I can't take that away from you, and I'm not going to try to. But when I look at Doncic, the way they talk about him, the way they have talked about him, all right, he definitely ain't getting past Dallas at number 5. But could Atlanta elect to take him at number 3? Or are they going to go with this kid, Jaren Jackson? It's a question mark. But it's something that needs to be said. It's something that needs to be asked about. Because we're trying to find out who these guys are and what they bring to the table. Just no way around it. I'm of the mindset, when I watch these guys play, I'm just looking at today's NBA game and see who fits where and who brings whatever it is that they bring to the table. That's how I'm looking at things. And I got some serious questions about what I'm seeing. I just do. Because right now, the only surefire bets appear to be DeAndre Ayton and Doncic. And by the way, when folks talk about Doncic, I had a couple of owners tell me there's several players that they put before what they're seeing in DeAndre Ayton. They've questioned his basketball know-how, his basketball IQ. I understand that. That's a reasonable question mark considering the fact that the guy hasn't been playing basketball that long. He really hasn't. And because he hasn't, what are we supposed to do with that? He's still 7'1", 260 with offensive skills that people were comparing him to Shaq coming out of LSU. I'm not passing up on that dude. I'm taking him. That harkens me back to age-old story that I tell all the time. I never forget when the Portland Trail Blazers passed up on Michael Jordan in 1984 to pick Sam Bowie. Never forget that. And in watching that, you had some folks that felt whoever was, the Jack Ramsey's of the world and others, God rest their souls, some of them should have been fired twice for picking Sam Bowie and passing on Michael Jordan. But they had already had Clyde Drexler. Here's my point. Have you ever heard anybody fault Houston for picking Akeem the Dream Olajuwon in the same draft? He went first. When you're that big and you have that skill, that much skill, everybody remembers you cannot be knocked for it. You cannot be knocked for it. It just is what it is. When you're that big and you've got that God-given size and ability that you can't just teach to somebody that big, you don't pass up on that person. So to me, DeAndre Ayton is bona fide number 1. Doncic makes things interesting because I'm not hearing the same thing about Marvin Bagley or about Mo Bamba. I'm hearing they can play. I'm hearing Bamba is formidable defensively and Bagley is formidable offensively. That he'll give you 20 and 10 a night. But if they don't have that it factor, that superstar quality, then do I have to go with Doncic if I'm Sacramento at number 2? These are the kind of things you have to think about. And Golden State is the reason why. Not just because you're trying to beat them. It's because they showed you how to do it in this day and age. That's why Houston came so close, because Houston was willing to emulate them. That's why Houston came so close. Houston was willing to emulate them to the best of their ability. And they almost pulled it off. If Chris Paul hadn't gone down and gotten hurt, who knows what would have happened. But the reality is they didn't pull it off. And so now you go back to the drawing board and you think about what other components you need. One of the people that might be hurt by this, potentially anyway, is Clint Capella of the Houston Rockets. Remember, he's planning on going to Phoenix to get that max offer. Well, they're about to draft DeAndre Ayton and they still have Tyson Chandler. How much do they need to give you a max offer? How much do the Phoenix Suns need to do that? I would say they don't, which means that Houston is his most viable option, where he should stay anyway. But Houston would obviously be looking for a hometown discount. All of these are things we have to think about, and then some. We all got to pay attention to this. It matters. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Another item I wanted to get into before we went to break was Adam Silver. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he was talking about the Golden State Warriors and how they should be applauded for what they do, et cetera, but you don't want a whole bunch of Kevin Durant situations materializing, where superstars are joining superstars instead of staying in respective markets and competing against those superstars. Again, I don't have the quote from Adam Silver in front of me, but I will get it. But I'm just telling you what he basically said. Actually, we do have the sound. Let's listen to NBA Commissioner Adam Silver talk about Kevin Durant, the Golden State Warriors, and how great they truly, truly are.
I get it in terms of Kevin Durant going there. It was a bit of an aberration in our system. We had a spike in our cap. It enabled them to have additional cap room. The Warriors will tell you they would have figured out a way to get it done anyway. I don't know. But even if Kevin Durant hadn't gone to Golden State, and let's just say he'd stayed at Oklahoma City, or let's say he'd gone to another team maybe in the East, you clearly would have had a third team that would have been much better. Any team that has Kevin Durant will be. But then you still have 27 other teams. And so, you got to give Golden State their due. And I've said repeatedly, let's also celebrate excellence.
Celebrate excellence. He's applauding the Golden State Warriors. Ladies and gentlemen, we all should. Golden State did not become relevant once Kevin Durant arrived. They were relevant before he arrived. They had already won a championship, and had just gone through back-to-back appearances in the NBA Finals. Steph Curry was universally recognized as the greatest shooter in the world. The Splash Brothers were officially recognized as the greatest backcourt shooting duo maybe ever. Draymond Green was doing his thing. Golden State Warriors acquired Steph Curry in the draft, acquired Klay Thompson in the draft, acquired Draymond Green in the draft, added pieces like Iguodala and Livingston and others through free agency. The Golden State Warriors did their job. Kevin Durant is the one who messed this up, because he's one of the top 3 players on the planet Earth, and he said, I'm going to go join the team that beat me, who just finished the regular season with an all-time winning record of 73-9. That wasn't Golden State's fault. That was Kevin Durant's. But Commissioner Adam Silver said, as a league, NBA can't force parity. Listen to this.
I don't think as a league we want to go about breaking up teams just to break them up, just to force some sort of parity that is kind of unnatural. On the other hand, I can understand a system doing some different things in the system that may not have allowed a player like Kevin Durant to go to a team that was already so good.
That's what he's saying. He's basically double talking right there, and I don't say that as a negative, but listen to him. He said, you don't want to force parity, but certainly you don't want to have a system that would encourage a star like Kevin Durant joining a juggernaut like that. I don't blame him one bit. I'd want the same thing. I want to see stars going up against one another. I don't want to see them joining against each other. But it also goes back to what Jim Gray, recently inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame, said many years ago. It goes into all of that. He said it best. He said, the Floyd Mayweathers of the world, the Rocky Marcianos of the world, or people like that had zeros attached to their names in the loss column. What's gotten lost in the shuffle is that people think that's the true personification of greatness. There were others who had lost in their careers who have been considered better than Floyd Money Mayweather. For example, the Sugar Ray Robinsons and Sugar Ray Leonards. There are great, great fighters in history who've had a loss on their record. And still, their greatness wasn't dulled or tarnished in any way. And the same thing is applicable to basketball. LeBron James has everybody thinking, you got to get to the finals and win the finals in order to be blah, blah, blah. No, he might. Because he's the one that declared he's chasing Jordan. But everybody else out there, if one year CP3 wins it, and another year Steph Curry wins it, and another year Russell Westbrook wins it, and another year Kyrie wins it, and another year it's somebody else, I got news for you. That's not bad. That's actually great. Because it has us looking forward to watching the league as opposed to a particular player or a team. I don't blame Adam Silver for wanting that. I damn sure know I do. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's always the number to call up. You're listening live to Stephen A. on ESPN Radio.
Washing my nose, oh yeah.
I'm a shower curtain, and I do one thing. Keep water from leaking everywhere. So you see why I feel useless compared to Geico, who does so much more. Like, not only could Geico save you money, but they've been around for over 75 years. And they give you 24/7 access online, over the phone, or on the Geico app. And they've got a 97% customer satisfaction rating. They do all this while I have to listen to this chucklehead. Oh, good, he stopped.
Washing my toes.
Oh, great, an encore.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more. You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show, right here on ESPN Radio, hour number 2. Looking forward to having Seth Greenberg, our college basketball analyst extraordinaire, usually on College Game Day, basketball side with Jay Williams, Jay Billis, Reese Davis. He's doing the NBA draft for ESPN Radio tonight. We're looking forward to talking to him. Definitely looking forward to doing that. Once again, the number to call up is 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. He will be on the line with us at the top of the hour number 2 of this show. But until then, we'll get to the phones at 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Let's go to Tony. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, Tony.
¿Cómo está, Stephen A?
¿Cómo está? What's up, man?
Friday
What's up?
Eve. Peace. 37 years a Knicks fan, man. And just wondering, tonight, let's say Michael Porter Jr., slips back a little bit. We got Sexton in front of us and Knox. Where would you go with that?
Where would I go with what? Stop. I don't understand your question. You're saying that if Kevin Knox was gone, what are you asking?
No. If Kevin Knox is available, we have, let's say Porter slips back and doesn't get picked up by the Bulls. And let's say we have Sexton available at the same time. Where would you go with that? What would be your pick at number 9, since we're not moving on up? This ain't George and Weezy.
I would tell you this. I'm inclined to believe. I've been all over the place on this. Let me be the first to admit it. I've been all over the place on this. On one hand, I think about a gunner like Trae Young, who's going to excite the Garden, pack it up, and pull up from the parking lot because I love Steph Curry so much. I fantasize about the New York Knicks having somebody like him because I'm sick to my stomach that the New York Knicks see. When Donnie Walsh and Mike D'Antoni and them boys were here in 2009, Steph Curry was going to be the Knicks pick. But Golden State had the pick right before the Knicks, and they were going to take him. And because they were going to take him, because they weren't able to take him, they ended up with Jordan Hill, and we see how that panned out. I fantasize about that from Trae Young, but I don't know if Trae Young is Steph Curry. Then I think about Sexton, whose athleticism and speed and tenacity I really, really like. But I got to tell you something. The more I think about it, this kid, Kevin Knox out of Kentucky, 6'8", average 15 a game, can shoot the three, can score, moves well without the ball, has a perimeter shot. And he's 6'8", 6'9". You know what that has me thinking about, Tony? That has me thinking about Jason Tatum and what I saw from him in Boston this year. And I'm desperate for the Knicks to get somebody like that. So I would lean towards Kevin Knox.
Yes, my brother. I feel you. But if Porter's there, would you even, if the Knicks, if we had that opportunity, would you even fathom that? Would you entertain the idea of
my problem with Porter is that I don't know how legitimate his injuries are. Injuries aside, yes, Porter would be my guy. The problem is, supposedly you had back and hip surgery. Man, you wasn't playing in the pros when this happened. This is college. Or actually high school, because he only played 3 games in college. So if you got those kind of problems, what am I supposed to believe about you with a grueling 82-game schedule coming up? That's my question mark.
Facts, my brother. Go New York tonight. Peace to you always.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks so much. Mustafa, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, man. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm looking forward to the draft tonight. But listen, there's a lot of big men in this draft, and I'm skeptical of DeAndre Ayton. Now, DeAndre Ayton, I know he's a monster down low in the post, but the bigs today are more valued for their defense than their offense. This is not back in the day anymore. It's a guard-oriented league. And his defense is a question mark. He doesn't have someone with his size, his explosiveness, and his athletic ability. Okay. He's got to be able to protect the rim a lot better than what he does. You look at Anthony Davis.
Whoa. I agree with you about his defense, but look, man, you can't teach what he brings offensively. They're comparing him to Shaq and what Shaq looked like coming out of college. The dude is 7'1". He's 260. He can play with his back to the bats. He's got good footwork. He can make his own shot down low. He could finish at the basket. Plus, he could step away, and he's hit 34% of his three-pointers. And he's got a nice stroke where people believe 15 and in, the stroke is even better. I can't ignore that. I can't ignore that, Mustafa.
I understand that, brother, but it's just big men who have just some bad history with drafting. I mean, Greg Oden comes to mind, some really potential dominant big men.
That's injury related. DeAndre Ayton, injury have nothing to do with it. It's injury related. That's the issue with the big men. That's not the case with him. That's number one. Number two, here's the thing that I think no one has picked up on. The fact that we talk about how the game has evolved, Mustafa, and how so many people focus now on perimeter play. Well, guess what? Your defensive prowess ain't as important as it used to be. Because most guys are away from the basket pulling up for threes. Houston launched more than 40 a game.
Right.
So I think that's something we got to consider. But I got to run, Mustafa. I appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much. Let's go to Bombo. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
Going on, Stephen A., just to kind of piggyback on what you're just saying about the defensive prowess. But wouldn't you think that would be more important with you having a switch on the outside and him being a guy that have to guard maybe a small forward on the perimeter?
Maybe not a small forward, but I think a power forward. I think a legitimate center like DeAndre Ayton would guard 4 and 5s. I think that's what would happen. That's number one. Number two, the question is how many 4 and 5s can step away from the basket?
All right, well, and the questions I have for you, number one, I was thinking with Memphis trying to shop out this number 4 pick, if you're Boston or Memphis, would you entertain possibly trading a Jaylen Brown for that number 4 pick and possibly getting a big like maybe Mo Bamba to kind of help your depth on the back end?
Me personally, if I'm the Boston Celtics, I'm the one team in the league that ain't touching nothing. I came within 48 minutes of going to the NBA Finals with Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward hurt. Why would I touch anything? I would stand pat, let them brothers come back, and let's make another run together. Jaylen Brown only 21 years of age, man. Tatum's 19. Marcus Smart and Rozier are 23. Your senior citizen is Al Horford. I ain't touching anything. I'm leaving my team right like they are, I'm standing pat if I'm Danny Ainge in Boston.
All right, well, my last question.
Go ahead.
Los Angeles Clippers, they have the 12th and 13th pick. I mean, that team basically has all the pieces together, but they do need their superstar. If you only have 12 and 13, you're probably not going to get your superstar. Right. What other possibilities do you think that they should take those two picks, package them, and go after Michael Porter and take that flyer and potentially hope that they could get their superstar for the future?
Well, I think there's a possibility that they could do something like that. What makes you so sure Michael Porter Jr. is going to be a superstar?
I mean, of course we know his pedigree before the injury. The back can be a problem, but I just feel like the guy has all this.
All right. Bombo, let me ask you a question. How do you feel about trading 2 lottery picks, which is 12 and 13, for a guy that has a back and hip injury history? If you are the boss of the Clippers, how you feeling about that? You doing
that? I believe it's that serious. No.
I'm asking you. I know that. You ain't are you a doctor? Let me ask you that question. Are you a doctor?
No, sorry, okay, not at all.
So, all right. So since you're not a doctor, you just a basketball lover, I'm asking you right now, are you comfortable giving up those 2 picks for a guy that has a history of back and hip injury and surgery? Yes or no?
You know what? With the staff that they might have in there and his potential ceiling and looking at where LA is, I would take that chance.
Okay.
Because how many times have we had guys with?
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just wanted to know if you would be brave enough to take that chance. I am not. But I respect the fact that you are. Appreciate the call, man. Thank you. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Back with more of your calls to close out the hour on tonight's NBA draft from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, where your boy is right now. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, reminding you that at hour number 2, the great Seth Greenberg, Coach Seth Greenberg, for College Basketball Game Day, he'll be on the show with us to handicap the 2018 NBA Draft tonight, live from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Let's get back to the phones at 888-SAY-ESPN. Let's go to Trina. You're live with Stephen A. Hey, Trina, how are you?
Stephen A., what's going on? So I got an issue. So sure. You mentioned the Adam Silver comment earlier. I think it's misdirected because KD left OKC because he wanted rings, right?
Yep.
But this whole thing was precipitated by LeBron, who left in 2010 with the big decision to go create the Super Friends with Bosh and Dwayne Wade in Miami. So it seems like this was all started by LeBron, not.
Well, it could
KD.
seem that way. Allow me to answer your question and educate you a little bit, Trina. Listen up here. LeBron goes to Miami. Had he ever played with D Wade?
No.
Had he ever played with Chris Bosh?
No.
Had he ever played with Ray Allen?
No.
Had he ever played with Mike Miller? Yeah, he did. In other words, eventually that would be the case because Mike Miller would come to Cleveland. Listen to what I'm saying to you. Kevin Durant joined a team that was just 73-9 without him. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Sean Livingston, Andre Iguodala, they were all there. He joined a ready-made engine as opposed for stars. If Kevin Durant, let's say, for example, let me give you the comparison. Rather than going to Golden State, right, Trina? Let's say Kevin Durant had decided, well, you know what, Kobe's retiring. So I'm going to go to L.A. And, oh, by the way, let me make sure I get John Wall in Washington or Chris Paul with the Clippers or somebody else, and they could come and join us, and we could all go to L.A. Isn't that different than just join and go to state?
Well, I think LeBron started this whole thing personally because I'm a proponent of. I agree with you, Stephen A.
All right, hold on. Then you got to say that first. You can't just ignore answering my question and then go into, well, LeBron started it first. You got to agree with it because it's factual. That's what happened. Go ahead.
I do think that. I mean, I'm with the old school players, so I do agree that. Back in the day, competitors wanted to play against competitors, the Kobe's of the world. Now they want to unite to chase rings.
Right.
So I think that started with LeBron. He left Cleveland to go chase rings.
Fair. That's fair. That's fair. I'm just telling you that even though, theoretically speaking, you're absolutely right, from a literal perspective, there's a huge difference between unfamiliar parts joining one another, coming together and joining one another, than parts that are incredibly familiar and incredibly successful, adding one of the top 3 players on the planet Earth to their squad. It's 2 different stratospheres. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's 2 different stratospheres. You know what is it? You know what it's almost the equivalent of, Trina? Well, I'm Aaron Rodgers. I'll join New England. That's what it's almost the equivalent of. I'm Aaron Rodgers. I'll join New England. Or I'm Aaron Rodgers and I'll join Pittsburgh. Something like that. That's all I'm saying. But I appreciate the call. Thank you, Trina. Appreciate the call. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. We'll continue talking to NBA draft. Our very own Seth Greenberg is coming up next. Plus, I'll get into a little NFL talk as well, because Malcolm Jenkins had something to say about these national anthem protests, about President Trump, about some of these NFL players and the positions that they're taking. All that and more. Hour number 2 with Stephen A. up next.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here. Welcome to hour number 2, shall I say, of the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio. Always an honor and privilege to have my next guest, my buddy, one of the premier voices on college basketball, former coach at Virginia Tech, my man, the one and only Coach Seth Greenberg, is right here with yours truly. What's going on, Coach? How you doing, man?
Stephen A., life is wonderful in beautiful Avon, Connecticut. It's a beautiful day out here today. We got the draft. I'm doing the draft on ESPN Radio tonight. Life is good. Can't complain.
Let me add that I called you because I need an education, so I'm usually debating with you. I'm usually going back and forth to you. I am at the mercy of you on this particular afternoon, Coach, because I don't know what the hell to make of this draft. How good is this draft?
It's good in front court players. It's got pretty good depth. It's not what it's hyped up to be. I think it was overly hyped. And like,
hold on, Coach. Where specifically do you think is hyped? Break that down for me.
Well, I'm going to give you right now, all right? Dante DiVincenzo and Kevin Huerter went to the Combine with an idea that they weren't even going to stay in the draft. Both are going to end up in the 20s. They earn their reputation, yes, by their play during the season, but they also earn their reputation by playing against other second-round draft choices at the Combine. Jerome Robinson, who no one even knows about, from Boston College, who I think could be the next Donovan Mitchell, all right? Most average fans don't even know who the dude is. He's going to go between 14 and 20. He might end up going at the bottom of the lottery. We've got four 18-year-olds in the draft, Stephen A. Four 18-year-olds. I mean, these guys should be walking across getting their high school diploma. They're going to walk across and shake the commissioner's hands with their families. So, look, the front court is no doubt. Look, you got Bagley, you got Mo Bamba, you got Wendell Carter, you got Ayton, you got Doncic. But there's a lot of ifs in this draft. And Mikal Bridges is a very good player from Villanova. I love him to death.
Mm-hmm.
He can knock down a three. He comes from a winning culture. He's a good defensive playmaker. Not as good on the ball.
Right.
He's going to go 9th. So, 10th. So it's a good draft. There are some steals in the second round, like Bruce Brown and some other guys, but I don't think it's what everyone has made it up to be. You know what I mean?
Coach Greenberg, let me ask you this question. DeAndre Ayton, number 1 overall, is that surefire? Is that the absolute choice the Phoenix Suns should make in this draft?
Yeah, it is. And I'll tell you why. And talking to Sean Miller during the season, DeAndre Ayton has never been coached before he went to Arizona. DeAndre Ayton never had 3 square meals a day before he went to Arizona. DeAndre Ayton was a guy that was playing on pure athleticism before he went to Arizona. Now, all of a sudden, he's getting 3 square meals a day. People said he didn't play hard. He played hard. He just was never demanded to play hard. They redefined playing hard. 7-footer, runs, jumps, catches, finishes, better defender than people are giving credit for, relentless rebounder. He's part David Robinson. He's part. You're going to like this, Sean Kemp.
Not Sean Klump. Not Sean Klump. You're talking about Sean Kemp, not Sean Klump.
Yeah, exactly. And part Dwight Howard. That's my take on him. I think he's going to be just absolutely terrific.
Well, what about this? If we're talking about him, we're talking about Bagley. Look at the things that people have said, raving about Mo Bamba. Why is DeAndre Ayton surefire? But when we said these things about Mo Bamba and Bagley, are they not as good as we thought they are, or is DeAndre Ayton just so special that he's above them?
No, I like Bagley and I like Bamba. It's like Bagley's going to average 20 and 10. Right, like he's so explosive around the basket. He's got a great second jump. He can finish. Doesn't have a pure position now. I think he's today's NBA 5 man. He wants to be a 4 or 3. Surely not a 3 because he can't guard. He couldn't guard a 5 in college. But he can score and he can rebound. The question is, can he help you win? And I think he will, but it's going to take a while. Now, Mo Bamba is my guy. He's part Anthony Davis, part Joel Embiid. He's not Anthony Davis and he's not Joel Embiid. I said he's part. But Mo Bamba, I love him. I don't like him as much as Ayton, and the reason I love him, and here's a couple things that bother me about people when they get into Mo Bamba. He's a bright guy. He's articulate. He has other interests, all good interests. He's not worried about a singing career. He's just a bright, articulate, well-read kid that is, from Harlem. That's really done just incredible things. Mm-hmm. So because he's all those things, people say, well, does he play hard? I did a bunch of games of his this year. He plays hard. He blocks shots. He runs the floor. He can shoot it. My only question for him is his lower body strength. Can he hold the spot? He's not Clint Capella because he's not a dunker spot guy. He can roll ball screen and roll front rim. But I'll tell you what, better off the mid post. Very good footwork. Can shoot the trail 3. Much more skilled offensively than Capella. I think the guy's going to be really good. I love him as a person. I love his energy. And overall, just this draft in general, these young men, these quote-unquote kids, they are really high character. Jaren Jackson, high character. Unbelievable. Like Jaren Jackson might have as much potential as anyone in the draft that is 18. He will not be 19. He'll be playing NBA games before he's 19.
We're talking to Seth Greenberg, Coach Seth Greenberg, right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio on the eve of the 2018 NBA Draft tonight at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Coach Doncic, this kid Doncic out of Europe, Real Madrid. Everybody's been raving about him. Why, and is he worth all the noise that has been made?
Well, he's 19. He's been playing with pros since he's 16. We lost our minds on Lonzo Ball last year, right? Well, let me tell you something. He's so much better than Lonzo Ball, it's ridiculous. He's the same vision and passer. He can make a shot. Now, Ball's a terrific rebounder, probably more advanced defensively. He's playing in the second-best league in the world. He's played against grown men since he's 16. He's really and won. He won with his national team. He won with Real Madrid.
Well, then but Coach, then why shouldn't Phoenix take him number 1 overall, particularly when their new coach comes from Europe?
Can't pass on Ayton.
Okay.
Can't pass. Okay. And the stuff about, the Europeans, can he create separation? He's not a point guard. See, the people that want to make him a point guard, he's not a point guard. He's a point wing who can be a playmaker, which is great. That's a great position to be in. I just think the guy's really good. I want more tape to watch on him. I like his physicality. He's got to get an NBA condition, but the more tape I watch on him, the more excited I get about him.
Coach Seth Greenberg right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. So you're going to label Doncic the best non-big man. And by big man, I'm talking about the centers, the Ayton, Bagley, Mo Bamba. The best non-big man available in the draft. You're going with Doncic. Is that correct?
Yeah, well ahead of Young and well ahead of Sexton and those guys. Now, I do think my other sleeper is not a sleeper, but a guy who I think is going to be a great pro is Kevin Knox. I think Kevin Knox will be a great pro. 6'9", 9-foot standing reach, shoots threes, good without the ball, drove it better at the end of the season. Again, 18 years old. I think he's going to be really, really good.
Coach, I'm putting you on the spot right now because I'm a native New Yorker. I'm a New York Knicks fan. You know I don't have any objectivity when it comes to these New York Knicks. I get emotional. I'll be the first to admit it. The New York Knicks have the number 9 overall pick in this year's NBA draft. Trae Young, Sexton, Knox, all fall to number 9. Who should the Knicks grab?
Take Knox. Not even a question.
Over Young or Sexton?
Yep.
Why?
No hesitation. Because Young can't guard me, and he led the country in turnovers. He played for Lon Kruger, who's a terrific coach, great communicator, and obviously didn't totally buy into the team. Sexton I like, and I'm talking to Avery. Avery loves him, but not a very good decision maker, just barely a 1-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. He will be able to guard the explosive elite guards in the NBA, but his decision-making, the shot-making, you got to make shots in the NBA now. And Kevin Knox can roll in, and eventually Kevin Knox will score 20 points a game.
Who does Kevin Knox remind you of? You know how you sound, Coach? He sounds, the way you're describing Kevin Knox, I only saw him a few times this year, and I do like his game. But the way you're talking about Kevin Knox, you almost talk about him the same way you spoke about Jason Tatum. Coming out of Duke.
You remember I like Tatum.
Of course I do. Of course I do.
I
I listen to you, Coach. You know that. You know I listen to you. Coach, I remember last year we were talking about this. You were talking about Jason Tatum the same way.
He's not as good off the bounce as Tatum was, but yes, very much so. As a scorer, yes. Without a doubt.
Coach,
I think I just think the guy is wired to score, and with his size and his youth and his feel, and as you watched him last year, he got better every week.
Okay, I say Knox. What about this kid Bridges that you mentioned coming out of Villanova? You like him a lot. What about the Bridges at Michigan State? What about Jaren Jackson? You would take Knox over those guys?
No, I wouldn't take him over Jaren Jackson, but I'd take him over Bridges and Bridges.
Got it.
Miles Bridges and Mikal Bridges is going to be. He's just going to be reliable. He's just going to be a good pro. He's going to be a guy who can play off corner spacing and knock down threes, and he'll guard and he'll rebound a little bit. He's a one-position player. He's a 3. Kevin Knox can play 3 and 4, and he'll be able to rebound out of that position. Mikal Bridges is going to be. I think he's going to be the new NBA 4. He's not the passer that Draymond is, but I can tell you one thing. For all the people questioning Miles Bridges, he is by far the most incredible kid in the world. He'll find a way to be successful. He's got to run the court harder. He's got to drive it a little bit more and get to the line more. He showed he can shoot spot-ups. He'll find a way, one, because Tom's guys always find a way, and number 2 is that he is one of the most delightful young men that I've had a chance to really get to know since I've done this media stuff, since I've been in television. He is incredible.
Coach Seth Greenberg, let's transition back to Trae Young for a second. We're right here with Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio with Seth Greenberg. Coach, when I look at Trae Young, I see a guy on TV that looks so miniature, so small. I met him in person. He's taller than I thought he was. Still slight of frame, but a pull-up from the parking lot, and you know every time you see him, and you remember about him averaging 28 a game, and the 28 he dropped in the NCAA tournament against Rhode Island, etc. People look at him, and they say, Steph Curry. What does Coach Seth Greenberg say to all of that?
It's not fair to compare him with Steph Curry. I mean, just not fair. He doesn't defend like Steph. His decision-making isn't as good. His vision is, but his decision-making isn't. And all those, logo, and I'm the first one who said he had logo range. What an idiot I am, because all those logo shots were bad shots. Who makes some? He make 30% of them. But, how's that flying in an NBA locker room? How's his lack of offensive shot discipline flying in the NBA locker room? He's talented. The best thing he does is if he really became a real willing passer, he's got unbelievable vision. And he makes great – he could really be good off of ball screens. But he guards no one. And in the NBA, and you know it, Steve, because no one studies the NBA more than you do, with all the switching in the NBA, even the 1-5 ball screens, he's getting buried. He's not fighting to a front and letting them X out on the backside and rotating off. He's not doing that. Steph Curry will do that. He's not doing it.
I'm getting nervous. I'm getting nervous because I'm thinking about Trae Young ending up with the New York Knicks, and based on what you're saying, it's making me very nervous right now.
People excited.
No question about it.
For a little bit.
Who's the sleeper in this draft as far as you're concerned? The guy that we haven't been talking about that we need to watch because wherever he lands, he's going to make a difference for the team that grabs him. Who's that guy in this draft?
Two guys. Jerome Robinson from BC, who will end up going about 14 or 15, and Bruce Brown from Miami. Bruce Brown, Miami, 6'5", 6'9" wingspan. He didn't shoot it well because he was hurt all season. I'm just telling you, Bruce Brown can pass it. He can defend. He's athletic. He's tough. He's a great kid. He's a great teammate. Can defend multiple positions. You can switch with him. Bruce Brown's going to be a really good pro. He'll go to early in the second round. He's going to be a really good pro.
What's the best situation for Bagley out of Duke?
That's
got
a good
Sacramento
one right there
at 2.
now.
You got Atlanta at 3. You
I'll
got
tell you
Dallas
what,
at 5.
I think Atlanta would be with Collins. Atlanta would be a good landing spot for him. Now, I think Jackson's going to go there, but I think that anyone who plays with Collins, I think they'd be actually. If you said we're not playing with a real post, we're just playing with 2 forwards, that would be a really good situation for him. Really good situation. Sacramento wouldn't be bad, but I don't think he'll go there.
And Mo Bamba, the best situation for him?
I like Dallas because I think Dallas is totally committed to him, and they're really, I think that they're going to be patient, and they can throw him into the wolves, let him play, let him make mistakes, and let him play through his mistakes, and let him grow. Because I think as he grows, he'll be crazy good.
But if Mo Bamba is there at 5, or Doncic, I don't think Doncic will last. But if you had to pick between Mo Bamba and Doncic, which way you going?
Doncic's a safe pick. Mo Bamba's if you try to hit it out of the park.
Coach, appreciate you, man. I'll be listening to you tonight on ESPN Radio for the NBA draft coverage. Thank you so much, buddy.
You got it, pal. Thanks.
No problem. The one and only Seth Greenberg right here with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. That's always the number to call. My God, I'm so nervous about this draft. I'm just nervous. I really am. I just am. Because, see, here's my thing. When I think about this draft, I could see the New York Knicks having the 9th pick, and it's Sexton and Trae Young there, or it's Kevin Knox and Trae Young there, or whatever. I can see it. And then all of a sudden, everything hits the fan. You see, I watched Trae Young against Texas Tech in a loss earlier this year, last February. I watched them lose to Texas. I watched that game. What was that losing streak again? I think it was like a 6-game losing streak. They lost to Texas and West Virginia. They lost to Texas again. They lost to Texas Tech. Kansas blew them out by 30. I saw that game February 19th. I'm looking at it now. They lost by 30 at Allen Fieldhouse in Kansas. 30. I mean, it's stuff like that. I just get so nervous, man, because I just don't have. Listen, maybe I should have a bit more confidence in the Knicks. They do have Scott Perry there now, and my God, does this man know talent? They do have Scott Perry there, and so if you got Scott Perry there, I mean, I got to have some confidence that you know what you're looking at. I got to have some confidence that you know where you're looking at. And if you're that guy, then I got to pay attention to you, and I got to give you props where props is due. I really do. I got to look at you, and I got to say to myself, okay, what does this guy bring to the table? And I just look at him right now, and I say, let's see. Let me look at this guy. Native of Detroit, okay? This guy was working in the NBA for many years under Joe Dumars. We know this. In his time in Orlando, remember, he was on their staff when Orlando drafted Oladipo. We see how he's panned out. Can't knock that. So I'm just looking at it and I'm just saying, hey, I just don't know. I just don't know. We shall see. I'm just nervous. The Knicks make me so damn nervous. I just can't trust them. I just worry so much about them making the wrong pick. Trae Young can shoot, but makes poor decisions at times. And listen, he can pass the ball, but how willing will he be able to do so? Will he be willing to do so, rather? Sexton, athletic, feisty, competitive, has speed, questionable shot. Kevin Knox, I know he's 6'8", 6'9", and can shoot and move without the basketball. I don't know what he could do, but everybody's saying he could be a sleeper. Both Jay Billis and Seth Greenberg said he could be the sleeper. And this guy Holiday out of UCLA. Oh. I got to trust Scott Perry here. 6th consecutive trip to the Eastern Conference Finals when he was with Detroit under Joe Dumars. Back-to-back NBA Finals appearances. An NBA championship in 2004. All right? Was an assistant general manager for the Supersonics rather, for one season. That was the staff that drafted Kevin Durant. Not that was a hard decision. But he's associated with the Detroit Pistons champions. He's associated with Kevin Durant being drafted. He's associated with Victor Oladipo being drafted. I got to trust him. I got to trust Scott Perry. I got to hope and pray that James Dolan doesn't contaminate the situation in any way. Knicks are not the only team to think about, obviously. They had number 9. It's going to be real interesting to see what happens in Chicago as well. They got the 7th pick. They got to make a decision or re-up in Zach LaVine. It's going to be real interesting to see what happens in Dallas. I mean, my God, you're the Dallas Mavericks. Can we get relevant again, please? Pretty please with sugar on top. It's a great city. You might have the worst football fan base known to mankind with those nauseating, disgusting Dallas Cowboy fans who make me want to vomit every day. But you're a great city. Great fan base. And I would just love to see them relevant again. I really, really would. With Mark Cuban and Rick Carlisle there, I don't understand for the life of me why they can't get some players. Memphis, every time I think about the Memphis Grizzlies, I think about one thing. I wish the team would move to Seattle. I think the city of Seattle deserves a basketball team again. I really do. It's too damn far of a flight, I'll admit that. But it's a great city. It's a great sports town. And I think the Seattle Supersonics, there should be a basketball team there. There should be an NBA basketball team there. They need to get it together, get a first-class NBA arena so we can get a team back in Seattle. Because Memphis ain't the answer. I just don't think it is. They still celebrating Elvis. That's just how I feel about it. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. We'll continue with your calls on this NBA draft night. Live from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Looking forward to talking about it further. Also going to get into a little NFL action because Malcolm Jenkins made some news today, had some conversations this morning. And I'll tell you what he was talking about. The Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl safety was talking about. All that and more coming up next. Don't touch that dial. You're listening live to Stephen A. on ESPN Radio.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like a whole new person.
Disclaimer, you will not become a whole new person. This is impossible. You might be able to join a gym or diet program, buy a new wardrobe, get hair implants, but your DNA and physical form will remain the same. Geico waives any and all liability if you attempt to become a new person, except a cyborg. If you choose to become a half-human, half-cybernetic organism with lasers for eyes, the Geico legal team would be cool with that, because, quote, laser eyes are pretty sweet. Pew, 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 end quote.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Before I get to the phones, I wanted to transition to the NFL for just a quick second. Because if you recall, approximately almost 2 weeks ago, President Donald Trump asked NFL players for pardon recommendations. President Trump, long reportedly at odds with NFL players over protests during the national anthem, expressed the desire to written, according to one article. It said one of the main reasons some NFL players have been protesting is the topic of criminal justice reform, a topic that's obviously very, very important to Eagle safety Malcolm Jenkins, amongst many others. It said early in the week of January 8th, when Jenkins used posters to illustrate his point that people hadn't been listening, several of his statistics were based on the idea of the criminal justice reform. Trump acknowledged this one reason for protest Friday morning. a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, that is. He said, quote, I'm going to ask all of these people to recommend to me because that's what they're protesting. People they think were unfairly treated by the justice system. And I understand that. I'm going to ask them to recommend to me people that were unfairly treated, friends of theirs or people that they know about. And I'm going to take a look at those applications. And if I find, or my committee finds that they are truly or unfairly treated, then we will pardon them or at least let them out of prison. Well, Malcolm Jenkins was on the show Get Up this morning on ESPN. And here's what Malcolm Jenkins, for the Philadelphia Eagles had to say about that. Listen up.
And the problem with just submitting a few names to get pardoned is that it doesn't actually address the issues and why people have been punished and incarcerated for really long amounts of time for really small offenses. And so when we talk about how many people are stuck in our federal prison system that have been there for years due to the war on drugs and these nonviolent offenses that are costing us money, costing us talent, destroying families and communities. We wanted to make sure if we did present a list, it would have thousands of names on it.
Right.
So we wanted to address that and respond to that and draw attention to the fact that not only do we need to let these people out for being there so long, but we actually need to change the system so that when we let some people out, we don't just replace them with new bodies.
Good points on his part. And contemporary of his, former Giants kicker Lawrence Tynes. He had the most profound point of it all. Upon learning of Trump's request, Lawrence Tynes went on Twitter and said on his Twitter page, I think it's at @it4kicks. It, the number 4, kicks, Kicks. He had tweeted that day Trump said that, Mark R. Tynes, inmate, hashtag 05559-017, serving 27 years, currently in year 16 for selling weed. Lawrence Tynes' brother is serving a 324-month sentence for a weed-related violation. You heard what Malcolm Jenkins said. I completely agree with him. Trump's suggestion does not resolve the issue, does not resolve the problem. Nonviolent offenders being sentenced to that much time in jail is a problem. And clearly the criminal justice system needs to address it. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Back to the phones we go. My boy Champ, I knew he would be calling in today. What's going on, big time? How are you?
I'm great.
Talk to me. What's on your mind?
Am I allowed to suggest a name that the president should pardon?
Sure.
I mean, I think the former mayor of Detroit should be pardoned. He received 28 years for a federal crime, and I think some questions that they should take a review on it. That's just my opinion. I don't know too much of the case hands-on, but I think 28 years for a nonviolent crime is just too much. And
you're just talking about the principle of the amount of years when a crime is nonviolent.
Well, it's everything is case by case, but I think this is a special situation. It made national news, and sometimes when it makes the news, you can.
You're talking about Kwame. You're talking about former mayor of Detroit, Kwame Kilpatrick, right?
Kwame Malik Kilpatrick, 100%. Okay. I believe he should be pardoned.
All right,
that's just me.
All right. I don't know. I got to look into that a little bit more, but it was definitely nonviolent, and I hear where you're coming from. But go ahead, Champ. What were you calling about?
I was calling about the NBA draft. You know, every year, it's fun for all these teams who haven't made the playoffs. It's they championship for the lottery. But I really wanted to ask you this: with the one and done and straight out of high school since Kevin Garnett, I mean, how many guys have really impacted the NBA in the first year and led their teams to the playoffs? But Carmelo Anthony or Amari Stoudemire, I could think offhand. And the reason why I'm saying this is the number one pick is not the prize of all prize. And I think for everybody saying that DeAndre Ayton is the consensus number one pick, and he should be, I think Phoenix should take a look at moving the pick and moving down. And I like Trae Young. I like Trae Young in Phoenix with the addition of Devin Booker and Josh Jackson. It reminds you of a pre-Golden State run. You know, Josh played the Draymond Green role. You got Booker and Young as the new Splash Brothers, and you can build off that. a lot of times when we look at the dominant player of a Shaquille O'Neal, meaning DeAndre Ayton, you may get that, but you may not. I think you're making a huge gamble when we're making him the number one pick. I suggest you move down because I'm going to ask you this, Steve. How many number one picks have won multiple championships with their franchise over the last 30 years? What, Elijah Wan, Tim Duncan, and Magic Johnson, if I'm not mistaken. And that's about it. What you think about that?
Well, I think, when was Isaiah Thomas picked?
I think Isaiah was, I don't have it offhand, I think he was like 2. Yeah,
okay.
He wasn't number one. He wasn't the number one pick.
Because I would tell you, you're probably right about that, but in the same breath, it's not to me just about championship. Sometimes it's about contention. And when I look at the draft, I look at how questionable the other pieces are. When I think about a guy like DeAndre Ayton, here's what I'm thinking about. You're 7'1", 260. You got skills on the offensive side of the ball, inside or out. You can't teach 7'1". And on top of it all, there's no definitive bona fide kind of stud in the draft like the LeBron James of the world and others. There's not that figure. When you combine that with the fact that it's the Phoenix Suns, where he played right down the road at the University of Arizona, you're a moribund franchise if ever there was one. All you got is Devin Booker and nothing else. And the reality is that, you know what, you've been losing for the last years and you haven't been relevant since D'Antoni and Steve Nash were there. I don't think you have a choice in terms of taking a chance. I think you've got to go with the safest bet, and I think DeAndre Ayton is that.
I get that from a business perspective. But when you say LeBron James, he first 2 years he didn't make the playoffs. So he wasn't a can't miss talent. But I want to hear you with this. I think the best player in the right situation, because when I evaluate player success, I always say the best player when he have everything built around him to his strength. I think this kid, Mo Bamba, is the third coming of Kevin Garnett and Anthony Davis. He gets in the right situation. This guy can win 4 to 5 Defensive Player of the Year awards. He is special. And he had, and like I said last year with Josh Jackson and Lonzo Ball.
So you're saying that you like Mo Bamba better than DeAndre Ayton?
Here's why. It's a special player because I like the big man who can defend the pick and roll. You can always find you a point guard. It's not that many special 2 guards and a prolific small forward. You can always find a facilitator. That's why I always pull LeBron out of my top 5 because I don't need him as my facilitator when I can have a point guard. Mo Bamba at 7 foot with that wingspan, if he gets in the gym and gets fully developed, defensively, he's off the charts. Offensively, you can get better if you want to by just getting to the gym. Defense is all about a mentality. That's why I always say this. The word on Josh Jackson, it's not out yet. He still has time because defensively he's so special. I just felt last year L.A. should have went with Josh instead of Lonzo. We never brought up the Tatum thing because Tatum was more skilled than both. But Mo Bamba, potentially wise, he's number 1 on the board for me in my draft board. The way I look at it.
For me personally, I got 8 and 1 and Bamba 2. That's just me.
That's fine.
That's
fine.
By the way,
I think the best.
Go ahead. Real quick. Go ahead.
So I think the best situation for Trae Young is the Phoenix Suns. I think he would be a bust if he's not a Phoenix Sun. The same thing with Curry. Curry is great, but he's Hall of Fame, special, elite by playing with Klay Thompson. No Klay Thompson, we wouldn't even be talking about Steph Curry.
Got you. By the way, in 1981, Isaiah Thomas was the number 2 overall pick. You're right. Mark Aguirre was number 1. Out of DePaul, went to Dallas before he ultimately ended up as Zeke's teammate. Appreciate you, champ. Thanks a lot for the call, man. Thanks so much.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Back to the phones we go. Chris in L.A., you're live with Stephen A. Go ahead, buddy.
Hey, Stephen A. Good talking to you here. Real quick, I just want to say I think I disagree with your buddy Champ on your last call when he says that there was no Klay Thompson. We wouldn't be talking about Steph Curry. So I just wanted to throw it out that I disagree with him as far as that. But real quick, 2 quick questions for you, Stephen A. Regarding Kawhi Leonard, what do my Lakers have to do to get him? Because I refuse to give up both Kuzma and Brandon Ingram. That's number 1. And number 2, do you think Daryl Morey of the Houston Rockets should take a chance at trading for Kawhi Leonard, knowing he's not going to resign? He wants to be in Los Angeles. Do you think they should take a chance on him, knowing that Chris Paul is not getting any younger? They don't know what they're going to, if the saying Chris Paul's going to even come back and take that 1 year since they were so close to beating Golden State this previous year.
I don't think they should do anything because you'd have to give up assets that have already worked for you. Remember, the only team you lost to was the best team in the world. So the bottom line is I think Houston should stand pat. In terms of the Los Angeles Lakers, you know what you do to get Kawhi Leonard? Wait. Kawhi Leonard has made it very clear he wants to be a Laker, and he doesn't care about the money. So the $219 million max extension, he don't care about that. Kawhi Leonard is going to ball, and then he's going to become a free agent, and then he's going to want to go to L.A. unless they move him somewhere else and let him be somebody else's problem. That's what's going to happen. Appreciate the call, Chris. Thanks a lot. John in Jersey, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, Stephen A. How you doing, my friend?
I'm all right. Talk to me.
Calm me down, Stephen A. I'm very, very nervous about this Knick draft at 9 tonight, just like you are. I don't want to choke on my popcorn and spit up my beer watching this tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard Mikal Bridges, Stephen A. I don't want to go that route because to me that's an easy, lazy pick. The best thing I've heard about him is that he's going to be solid. I don't need solid. I need special, and I want to go for Kevin Knox. He's explosive. He's younger than Bridges is. He's got a bigger upside. He can rock the rim. He can shoot from the perimeter. He can move well without the basketball. He's got special written all over him. And when you're the New York Knicks, you got to hit this big tonight. You cannot swing and miss, Stephen A. I got to go big. I also heard Alan Hahn mention there's a possibility we acquire a second first-round draft pick. I'd like to see that happen tonight. Maybe a package of Courtney Lee and that high second-round draft pick you got in the Carmelo Anthony trade, and you get another piece there. We need a pair of building blocks in this draft that we can move forward in a positive direction and feel good about with David Fizdale's program, Stephen A. We really do.
Well, listen, you can say all you want, but at the end of the day, it comes down to players. And with Porzingis expected to not be healthy before January, I think the pick is so important because it needs to inspire Porzingis to want to come back. Once he comes back, he needs to play inspired basketball as well because the combination of the two is going to make the 2019 free agency class attractive or the Knicks attractive to them. And I think that's the important thing that you're trying to peel out from all of this. But thanks a lot. Looking forward to talking to you tomorrow based on what we see tonight. Rob, you're live with Stephen A. Go ahead.
Just to piggyback on what the both of you just said, I just don't want to see what happened last year happen this year again. There was way too much talent still left in the draft, and we settled. I don't want to see the Knicks settle this year. I want to see them come out with something good.
You say the Knicks settled. I say Phil Jackson was asleep at the wheel.
Two, the good thing about this draft is that we don't have to worry that Phil Jackson has his hand in this draft.
That's right. That's right. I definitely think that the New York Knicks as an organization is in much better hands now than they were last year with Phil Jackson. Absolutely. Dave, you're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Real quick, Dave, go ahead.
Hey, man, let me give you a little more insight in what you've been getting on this draft, man. I really watched this college basketball.
All right, you only got 40 seconds, though, but go ahead.
But listen, man, DeAndre Ayton, he's a David Robinson all day, man. So the next year, you're probably going to complain about him not being more physical. He is no Shaquille O'Neal. He's David Robinson. And, man, as far as your Knicks, though, like I like what Champ said. That dude on point, man. He gave you the real spill. As far as your Knicks, man, like you said about the Lakers, they're going to get Kawhi Leonard. Just wait. You just wait. Y'all going to get Kyrie
The Knicks are going to get Kawhi Leonard?
No. Y'all going to get Kyrie Irving and y'all going to get Karl Anthony Towns. And y'all going to get Karl Anthony Towns.
All right, we'll see.
All they need to do is pick the right draft pick to complement them.
All right, Dave, I got to go. Take it easy. We're going to get Kyrie Irving. I heard you speaking. From your lips to God's ears. Talk to y'all in 22 hours. Good luck with the draft tonight. Peace and love.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.